Codex Gigas, Scene 3, Take 1230. Action!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the History and Mystery channel. I'm your host, the Chronicler, and I would like you to like and subscribe. Now that you've done that, I want to delve into a mysterious book named the Codex Gigas, or better said, the Devil's Bible. In medieval times, a mysterious book made its way through Europe, a book that was filled with all of the known knowledge of that time, a book that was filled with ominous signs, a depiction of the devil, magic spells, magic formulas, exorcism rituals, Isidore of Seville's Encyclopedia, Josephus' Antiquities of the Jews, Cosmos of Prague, Chronicle of Bohemia, a calendar, and it even included a complete Latin version of the Bible. So, the main questions of today are: who wrote this? Why was it written? What was its purpose? Was this an ancient form of Satanism? And how did it become so famous? The Codex Gigas is a medieval manuscript which is 91.5 centimeters tall, 51 centimeters wide, and around 23 centimeters thick, and weighs a stunning 75 kilograms. The Codex Gigas is also the largest preserved book from medieval times and was written around the year 1230 in the Podlažice monastery, which was located in Bohemia, or better known by its modern-day name, the Czech Republic. The Codex was written by a desperate Benedictine monk named Herman the Recluse. You might wonder, why was it a desperate monk? Well, the monk was desperate because he was sentenced to death by being walled up alive behind the monastery walls for committing the horrible sin of breaking his sacred vow. For committing this sin, Herman got put in front of the religious court of the monastery. And after the trial ended, Herman got placed into a small room, which would become his last resting place. The other monks brought in the bricks and started with building a wall between Herman and them. But just before they could place in the last brick and lock Herman away for good, Herman started begging for his life and begged for a deal. After hearing Herman begging for his life, the abbot decided to give him a deal. The abbot challenged the monk to write a book in a single night that would contain all of the knowledge from the world. Personally, I think that the only reason why the abbot offered Herman this deal is because he already knew that it would be impossible for any human to complete this challenge. And even though it seemed all hopeless for our desperate monk, there was no alternative, and he had nothing else to lose than that which was already doomed. So without a doubt in his mind, Herman started writing for his life, and while the time kept passing by, Herman got confronted by the fact that it would be impossible to complete this book in one night. For a desperate monk who break his sacred vow, a desperate time had come. And what do desperate times call for? Desperate times call for desperate measures. And when the call for desperate measures comes, there comes someone out of the shadow, someone who stands ready to offer you a deal that comes at a heavy price, a deal that made the monk exchange his soul to complete the challenge and save his life. After making his deal with the devil, Herman was able to finish the book. After the night ended and when the next morning came, the abbot asked Herman for his result and was surprised when he saw that Herman presented to him a gigantic book. After taking a look at the book, the abbot accepted the challenge as completed and spared Herman's life. Time went by and Herman started to regret his decision. He might have given his life some extra years on earth, but condemned himself to an eternity inside of Satan's prison. Herman became again the desperate monk that saw his life slipping away, but this time Herman tried to save himself by praying towards the Holy Virgin Mary, because she was known to be more merciful against sinners than her son. After he started praying, Herman received a vision in which the Holy Virgin Mary appeared. Mary told Herman that she understood that desperation led him to the decision he made, and she said that she would save him because she could see the pureness in his heart. Mary came closer to Herman, but as she came closer to Herman, her appearance started to change. Horns came out of her head, her tongue split, and a devil's face appeared. Laughingly, the devil said, "Trying to get out of the deal? It's not possible. I delivered, and now it's time for you to deliver." The monk died, and the last thing he saw were the devil's eyes. This is where Herman's story ends, but the story of the Codex continues for years to come. Time went by and the Codex survived wars, fire, and religious institutions. Even though it got the nickname the Devil's Bible, nobody would dare to destroy it. How the book survived probably just came down to dumb luck, but it could be something more. Legend says that the book was written by a monk who made a deal with the devil, and it is said that because of that, the book could be used for satanic rituals. Perhaps this could be because besides the fact that it contained an entire Bible, it's also filled with pagan rituals, exorcism rituals, and magic spells, which is something that's strictly forbidden in Christianity and could be seen as a high form of blasphemy. Either way, it sounds like a pretty unholy combination to me. When we take a look at the book and take a look at the sections that contain these pages with the pagan rituals, we start to see that we are missing 10 pages. So one could only wonder what kind of pagan or unholy practices are written on those pages. For as far as we know, the last time those pages were present was when the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II took the book. After taking the book, he became a changed man. A man that got guided by fear and paranoia. He even started to claim that all of his royal advisors were possessed by demons. Day after day, Rudolf became more obsessed with the book, and he would become mostly obsessed with the drawing of the devil that was included in the book. After listening to all these voices in his head, he became so delusional and paranoia that the royal court decided to remove Rudolf from power in favor of his brother Matthias. To Rudolf, this felt like treason, and that's why he started a bloody rebellion in which he looted and plundered his former kingdom. His rebellion failed and Rudolf got arrested. During his time in prison, he stayed obsessed with the devil and his demons until the day that he died, all alone in a cold prison cell. After the Codex was taken from Emperor Rudolf again, it was kept safe in a monastery in Bohemia. Now that we know the story, we still wonder, how did this book become so famous? Because the Codex might have stayed hidden in a monastery in Prague for centuries to come if it had not been taken by Swedish soldiers after the sacking of Prague in the summer of 1648 during the 30 Years' War. After looting and bringing home the spoils of war, the book made it to Stockholm and ended up in Queen Christina's collection. Queen Christina was known for stealing books from other nations as war booty and using them to expand her own library. The Codex Gigas was kept at the royal castle in Stockholm, and all went well until the year 1697 came. In this year, a fire broke out in the castle and the book was thrown out of the window to prevent it from getting engulfed in the fire. Legend says that when the book got thrown out the window, it landed on an innocent bystander, which caused the bystander to have multiple injuries, but luckily nobody died. The drop did cause some damage to the book, so the book was rebound in 1819 and put back on display in the Library of Sweden in Stockholm, where it still resides and can be seen as part of the library's treasuries exhibit. The Codex Gigas is literally the largest preserved medieval manuscript that is known to historians, which is something that only adds to its fame. Whether the book was really written by the devil remains a mystery, but it is still the most interesting theory. What we do know is that the handwriting and the work style of the book show us that it must have been one person that wrote the book. What we also know is that at the time period of the creation of such a gigantic book, it would have taken a minimum of 5 to 10 years to complete, depending on how much time the author would have spent on it every day. This theory would also show that the legend of Herman is nothing more than a folktale. For now, neither of the theories can be denied or confirmed. I want to thank you all for listening. See you in the next one. And remember, history is written in mystery.